Hi everybody, this is Ellie. Thanks so much for joining me today for a planner chat and flip through and just a little bit of a catch up. So I briefly made an appearance in the summer and then quickly disappeared again. I did get another teaching contract. I'm in a kindergarten classroom right now, which is wonderful and also incredibly busy and exhausting. When I first shared this planner, I talked about how I hoped it could be a planner for both personal and teaching. It's the B6 Sterling Ink Common Planner, and I got it for the academic year, which carried me from July of 2024 and will go through June of 2025. I'll show you a little bit of how I did use it for the first month or so in the classroom, but it turns out that it was not the right fit for what I needed. And I've chatted before about how whether or not I am in a teaching contract or doing daily supply teaching, my planner needs change. And I was hopeful that this could have kind of bridged the gap. But I did learn more about my teaching planner style this year, so it all worked out. And maybe I'll just show you quickly. I ended up getting a planner off of Amazon. It was either $10 or maybe $15. I don't know if you could tell. The pages have already been folded, the cover here, just from shoving it in my backpack. But I can show you, let me show you a blank spread. I don't know if this is interesting at all to anyone, but basically what I need for a teacher planner is a place where I can scribble possible lessons and not worry about scratching things out if things change, and just have a lot of scratch paper. So this format is actually pretty nearly perfect for me. Because I'm in kindergarten, it isn't set up like a typical classroom from grade 1 up. There's a lot of play-based learning and exploration, but we do still have whole group explicit lessons. They're just much shorter and kind of sprinkled throughout the day based on our schedule. So what I do is I just put, if we have 3 whole group lessons a day, 1, 2, 3, I just jot in. Actually, I did tab a page. So any kind of special events up here, I can just jot in just the bare minimum, because I do actually make Google Slides for every day. I just need to see it in an overview setup like this and be able to cross things out and just add notes. I use it some weeks, I don't use it some weeks, but this is actually perfect. And I do keep memories still in this guy here, so it seems to be the perfect combination. I wouldn't do the academic year again because now I know I don't need it. I just enjoy starting something new in January, but for now, I am going to continue on with this. I did consider getting a January start planner, either in the Sterling Ink or the Paper Test Designs, which if you followed me for a while, you'll know I also love. But I decided in the end that I still have half of this planner left. I am actually really loving being in it. And I just didn't want the micro decisions and the pressure of setting up a new planner right now. Even though that is arguably one of my favorite parts of planning, is setting up a new planner, I do also find it stressful. So I have just been staying in this, playing around, added a couple of new spreads to start the year. Not even really, I guess a couple of title pages, and we'll carry on. But I did think I could walk you through most of my pages. The thing about being in a contract is that there's a lot more information for me to cover up, so it's a lot harder to film, but I did my best, and yeah, let's take a look. So just to start, this is a custom cover from Maria at Bujoplanner, and I have been loving it. Like I said, this is the B6 size. Some of this you'll have seen before, so hopefully you don't mind seeing it again. I put in this scrap paper on the end pages here. I got this pad from Michael's years ago, so I just cut it to size and then start gluing it on one side and carry it through. This is a sticker that my friend Lauren at Theory of Lauren gave me from Planner Monkey Co. Still very happy to see that in here. I didn't do anything on these pages, just tracking my cycle here. And I did put in this calendar for the academic year, and this reflects my school board's PA days, any specific breaks, and I did actually use it to mark any days I've had to take off. So I've had some professional learning days. I got really sick at the end of October, beginning of November, and my eardrum ended up rupturing, which was awful. But it has healed up and my contract is scheduled to end in mid-February. So fingers crossed I don't need to take any days before then. I tried to do a vision board, and for me that ended up being a Ted Lasso spread. So I love this. I love what it means to me. I love the quote. I love the pictures. I love flipping past this page, and you'll see I made another one for 2025, spoiler. I haven't done anything on this goal breakdown spread, but I did actually do kind of my own scribbly goal planning this year in an old Leuchtturm I have. So it doesn't quite follow this format, but I might just use this spread and disregard the titles. We'll see. I had lovely plans here to carry on with my reflections. I have not done it. You can see, which is a little bit disappointing because I love looking through that, but there is no reason I can't just pick up in January and go from there. So I will do my best. Honestly, I am rarely in the monthlies. It does make a difference for me when they are embedded throughout because I just flip to them as a landing page before going to my current spot. That said, I don't need the monthlies really. I mostly do monthly planning on my phone just using a Google Calendar. So I have appointments set up to send me phone reminders because I need that. So it's here, it has birthdays in it, and it has some appointments, I guess, that I had scheduled ahead of time. And I'll try and pick it up again in January just for appointments. I do like to have them in here as well as on my phone, but the monthlies honestly are not that functional for me, and I'm fine with that. Then we get to my weeklies. So I loved these spreads. They were basically memory keeping spreads, just a chance for me to use my stickers, play with a little bit of lettering, use washi tapes. So when I first got this in the summer, I would do my daily pages in the back. And then at the end of the week, usually I would just sit and do this whole spread at once. And I really enjoy that process. It is not something that I have been able to keep up with when I've been teaching. And honestly, there's not even enough that I would want to pull in here. Like these are all what I consider small everyday memories for the most part. But in the classroom, sometimes all I write for my memory keeping days is, wow, today was a Monday. And that doesn't really lend itself well to filling up a whole column, but that's okay. I like that it's flexible for me. And when I did start the school year, I will show you when I get there. I loved this spread with the kind of lemon theme. Then I continued on with a peach theme here. And so this last week is when I was prepping for school, so nothing happened here. And I'm just going to show you one because there was too much to cover on the other ones, but I do really like this idea for planning if I'm in a contract. So basically what I did is I just sectioned it off here, holidays or any kind of specific events or meetings to remember that day, special notes. And down here was just memory keeping or notes from the day. And then I used the weekend to make one big to-do list that I just checked off as I went along. And this worked well. The only thing about it is I realized what I wanted to be happening with my teaching planning was to have a space to see that overview of explicit teaching I was doing that week or centers we were setting up. And this didn't give me the freedom for that. But I did do this for a few weeks and it worked, but it ultimately wasn't what I wanted or needed. So live and learn. It's nice to have the flexibility to try those things out. And then we get to the bulk of my actual planning system, which is my bullet journal style in these back pages. So you can kind of see where it's fluffed up a little bit. I do love these gilded edges. It's so funny because when they first came out, I was not sure about them. And now I really enjoy them, especially as the pages start getting used. So I have a tab in here. These are from A Pointed Shop, which my friend Maria at A Papery Life introduced me to. I did washi tape them in instead of peeling and sticking because I like to be able to move them around, and also I'm terrible at lining things up. The hope was that I could reuse them, and I'm sure I can, but they've all gotten a little bit bent. I'm careful with my stuff, but I'm not too careful with it, and that's okay. They're meant to be used. It still works. This guy comes with me from planner to planner. I love him. I love the sentiment. I left 3 pages here for an index, which was obviously very ambitious, but I just drew these lines in pencil and figure I can put a vision board, put a quote, leave it completely blank. I like having the extra space. So really what I've done is just list the page where each new month starts, and I think there's a couple of spreads in here, list of values, brain dump, that I've also included as well. Then I will just flip through the summer months in here. So if you have followed me for a while, this system is basically what I've used in every planner, in a bullet journal, in my Wonderland 222, in my paper test designs. I have my tasks, my notes, my memories, what I'm watching, and quotes I'll add in. Sometimes I'll hand letter, sometimes I'll print them. This is with the PoooliPrinter. This is a carryover from the paper test designs. I know I have the weekly at the front, but that's not how I use it. I use that for memory keeping when I was using it. So this is just a little overview for the week where I can put in any appointments or day specific events. So that's what I did here. Just play around, a few stickers. These dates are from Planner Monkey Co. and I have ordered some for this year as well. I'm just waiting for them to arrive. I did a little bit of tracking here. I love this system. I love that I can use as much or as little space as I need each day. This is where I briefly popped in the summer to make a video or two. I added in my signifier line here, which is great. You'll see some washi from the Coffee Monsters Co., some of her tiny icons. I really like the moods from Paper Bits Co. as well. I use black ink in here. I have been using the Pentel Calme in the 05 for, this entire planner. If I'm doing any hand lettering, it's either with the Tombow Fudenosuke in the hard tip or this Staedtler pigment liner in the 0.05. Oh, this is the list of values I had in my index. That's from a book I was reading at the time, Big Feelings, and the values were from James Clear actually, so that was fun to work through, and I actually revisited this when I was doing my 2025 goals and thinking of my word for the year. These headers are just made with the Tombow Fudenosuke, and I use a Jelly Roll white pen on top of it. These were inspired by Lauren as well. 2 videos there. I think I got 2 videos out, and that was that, but hopefully 2 is better than 0. Oh, I have these Happyish cards from Nora McInerny. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but they are wonderful. And I just really love her approach and the way she writes things. So you'll see another one at the end of December as well. So same thing, kept it pretty consistent for a while. You'll see we get to the end of August, and once I got into the contract, it was not consistent. So this is where September started. September 2nd, skipped some days, then I skipped almost the whole month. This is September 28th when I went to Helen's workshop at the Coffee Monsters Co. That was in Toronto at Wonder Pens, which was so much fun. And then I made this spread here where I reminded myself that done is better than perfect, and I just needed to show back up in this planner. So mid-October, I believe I had a bunch of Post-its with random notes from different days on them. So I decided it was fine. If I had skipped a bunch of days, I would just include whatever notes I did have. So you'll see October 22nd, 26th, 27th, 29th, and 31. I really like how this turned out. This is a quote from Practical Magic, which I always enjoy. And then I thought these PET tapes went perfectly there. This is when I got really sick, so I just have a couple of big Post-its in here. I did not even bother transcribing those. And then I ended up switching out my layout. So I think this is when I started really using my teaching planner. So I realized I didn't have a lot to jot down, so I didn't need these column lengths. So I just divided the page in half. You can see I still have my little signifier line. I just jot down just little bits of memory keeping to maybe jog my memory back to that time and place. And then I was just doing a little bit of journaling. And I'm actually really enjoying this. I like the confined space. Sometimes it's about the day in a little bit more detail. Sometimes it's unrelated. It's just something that's been on my mind. You'll see I've also done some prompts in here too. So it's been a really good way for me to get into my planner consistently and in a way that feels manageable for me. I use stickers here and there, and I've also had fun just kind of bolding or hand lettering certain words related to my journaling, but anything that just sticks out or resonates, I decided to bold just to draw my eye in and again, kind of give me that snapshot idea of where I was. I also like to add 1 sticker per day roughly, and you'll see quotes throughout as well. So I started that in November. So again, this was after I gave myself permission to show up imperfectly, and that seemed to have really helped. Pulled out some of my Christmas washi tapes here, a brain dump spread to do and to maybe buy. You'll see I added in a quote here. This is also a quote, some hand lettering. And then we get to the month of December, where I rediscovered the fun of doodling and adding a little bit of fun back into my pages. Not that this isn't fun, but I hadn't done anything kind of, well, doodly in the first part of the planner. So did that there. This is a paper from Maria, and I just kept going the exact same layout. This, I have some writing underneath. You can see here, I don't think I got in here those days, so that they were just 2 tiny notes that I could remember, and then this was a piece of journaling. Here are some prompts from Helen at the Coffee Monsters Co., so those are fun as well. Those are days where well, here I didn't do any memory keeping. Did a little bit of notes from school here, but I think I was just really tired. The last push before the break can be exhausting, and it was this year. Fun, really fun, but also really busy. So if I didn't journal, sometimes I filled the space with doodles. This one is another quote. Got some pages I've just clipped together there. Oh, and I had fun making this countdown. I just counted down the last week, so 5 to 1. And then our school had a spirit week, so I just wrote in that special clothing and had fun with it. I added a quote here. This is from Abbott Elementary and a little bit of journaling, which I really enjoyed. I really love Abbott Elementary, so I'd recommend that if you haven't checked it out. Couple of pages together. Oh, what I did here is I got a couple of really thoughtful cards and letters from parents. So I just took a picture of them and glued them in here so that I don't necessarily have to keep the cards themselves, although I probably will. But even so, this will be easy to access, and just, it's a really nice reminder, especially on the tougher days, that what you're doing matters and that parents can also see the growth in their children. And it was just really thoughtful. So I'm happy to have that in here. I also made a Christmas break brain dump page, things I wanted to do or could do. After I wrote these things down, I thought to myself, I might not get to any of them, and that is totally okay. So I just added the little reminder at the top, and I have had a pretty relaxing break. I've seen a lot of family, which has been really nice, and I have done a little bit of work, not as much as I could have, but I feel completely fine with that. And then because I've been home, I went back to my kind of original style of bullet journaling and memory keeping in here with my columns. and it has been really rewarding to be able to flip through the pages and see that I have used them. It hasn't been completely consistent, and that almost makes it more rewarding for me, because in the past, when I've fallen off, it has just been too overwhelming to pick back up and to try and catch up because I thought I had to, or just figure out where to go from there. So I'm glad I was able to get back into this and just show up however I could show up. Oh, and this is the other card from the Happyish deck I was talking about. So just a little reminder that you're doing a good job, I'm doing a good job, we're all doing our best, and this was a helpful and gentle way for me to end the year and this planner. Well, not this planner, but the 2024 section of this planner. And then for 2025, I haven't had to do too much because it is all here, but I did make this little page. I used a stencil. I always get asked about this. It is from Amazon, but it's from years ago. So unfortunately, I can't link it. As far as I know, there is a maker on Instagram who makes something similar. I believe her handle is Do Not Microwave Craft. I'll link her below. And I know Allie Brown had one in the past. She doesn't currently, but it has come back before. So that's always a place to check as well. But I just stenciled it and got a little sticker, a little relaxed, restful guy. And my word for the year, which is imperfect. I don't always choose a word for the year. If nothing speaks to me, I just don't bother. But I have learned that for me, I kind of need my word for the year to connect with a quote or a statement or an affirmation. I need that touchstone that I can keep saying to myself. So a couple of years ago, my word was change, and I connected it with the quote, "If nothing changes, nothing changes." And it was really helpful for me that year to be able to say that to myself when I needed. And for this word, it's a reminder that I'm imperfect, but it's mostly a reminder to show up imperfectly. And I think that coming back to that this year will be really valuable for me, not just with my planner, but in all areas of my life. Here is my other Ted Lasso vision board, mood board, whatever you'd like to call it. And I wrote down my 4 goals for 2024. So when I approached goals this year, for me, it's actually more developing habits and maintaining them. I don't have at the moment any kind of big finish line goals. It's, like I said, just things that I want to start incorporating into my life, hopefully as consistently as possible. So what I actually did was come up with a list of habits that kind of span different categories. And then once I had done the habits that felt like a good starting point for me now, I figured out how to kind of umbrella them under certain goals just so that I could have that snapshot. And when I have looked through my past goal planners, it's always a variation of the exact same thing. So prioritize my mental health, care for my physical health, attend to my finances, and take time for hobbies. I also included a number of affirmations in here, just things that I would like to be able to revisit and have easily accessible. Affirmations and gratitude are habits I do want to cultivate this year, so this felt like a good starting point. And I like the idea of having collections of them. So if I find more that speak to me or think of more, I'll create other collections within the pages, I think. And I used my Zebra Sarasa vintage colors, some of them, just to write these out. And these are these are my favorite gel pens. So, but only the vintage colors, because I find the other colors a lot juicier and wetter. So these are my preference, and it was fun to be able to use them and add a little bit of color in here. Other than that, I forgot, I did make another little title page here. I don't love this one as much as December's, but it was fun to make. And really, at this point, that is all that matters to me. And something else I decided to add back in was my Calendex. I used to love doing this in my bullet journal. Guys, I flipped through my bullet journal to get inspiration the other day, and it was so nostalgic, and I had to remind myself that I'm happy in this system. I do not need to immediately dive back into a Leuchtturm, but it was so fun to flip through and reminded me of how much I enjoyed being a little more free in my pages. Not that I'm deliberately kind of confining myself in here, but I don't know. In the Leuchtturm, it was a little bit freer, and I want to bring some of that back into here. So that's why I'm doing things like adding a little bit more color and playing around with doodles and layouts. And even if I might not love it the most right now, I think that in future, when I flip through it, it will be delightful. So I added the Calendex here. I am just going to write down quick memories from the day. And yeah, that's a practice I used to love. So I'm excited to try it again. If it turns out I can't keep up with it or I don't love it, I've only done it for January. So February can be something completely different. And then I have, I guess, from page 85 to 368 left. So quite a bit. Some of these back pages I've used. So we have the grid spacing page, these micro dots from a sticker page, which I love. Oh, they're actually the nano dots. This is where I have included my currently inked. Well, I don't think they're all currently inked, but when I do ink a fountain pen, this is where I have put it. I do these little spirals inspired by Helen as well. Some pen test pages. Oh, I knew I had done that somewhere. I was looking for it when I used the blue to make January. Anyways, the 2024 Blue Jays season completed. It was disappointing, but I didn't disappoint myself. I did finish this, and fingers crossed for 2025. When did I last? Oh, I have not kept up with this, but I can always start again. Some YouTube suggestions and requests and ideas. Oh, I forgot to cover this up, but this was a 2024 health tracker spread. So I didn't really keep up with it. I wanted to track some symptoms, but when I did have to go on antibiotics when I got sick, I was able to put that in here, and I had an eye specialist appointment, so I put some notes in here as well. And I'm going to make another tracker like this for the first half of 2025. And that's it. That is my 2024 flip through, I guess, and my 2025 setup, such as it is. I didn't actually miss the setup as much as I thought I would, mostly because I had some catch up to do, quite a bit of catch up to do for December. So I still got that feeling of playing with stickers and having fun in here. And then I did do, like I said, these few spreads here so that it's ready for me. I would love to hear what you guys are using for 2025, and if you have chosen a word and would like to share, please leave it in the comments below. I'm wishing you all the best to start the new year. I hope that you are gentle with yourself in all the ways, including in your planners. These are not meant to be perfect. They're never going to be, and that's part of, I don't know, that's part of the process. That's part of what makes them fun and special and unique, I think. And I also want to say thank you so much for watching and sticking with me. I know I have been inconsistent. I think consistent could have also been a word this year for me, but I'm going to do my best. I'm going to try and show up, whatever that looks like this year, and I always love connecting with you guys. So thank you again, Happy New Year, and I'll see you next time.